Hi there. Today I'm going to try something different with my FineLine applicators. This is the size 20 gauge tip. This is a really fine one. So I'm going to unscrew the lid here, and yes, we have our glycerin. And I am going to put glycerin in this applicator, at least a little of it for now. Okay. So one thing I like about these FineLine applicator bottles is that you can fill them with different types of media. I think it makes it well worth the price that you pay for them. I got this one at Hobby Lobby and I paid $4.99 for it. Let's get out one of my cards here. I'll turn this wax paper this way. We're going to do some experimenting with this. I'm going to draw my and I don't know how much you're going to see on this. I'm just drawing an outline. And then I'm going to write a word in here. What shall I write? Create? Create. I imagine with glycerin you don't have to worry too much about it getting clogged up. But I'm using the glycerin in here because I like the fine tip applicator. And I'll bet you all know what's coming next. Embossing enamel. Now I first learned about using glycerin as a embossing base from the Frugal Crafter. You can do all sorts of creative things with it. I probably drive Lindsay crazy sometimes with all my wild experiments, but so be it. So let's put this back into the bottle. And let's hit this with the heat gun. How about that? Let's flip it over. And let's do the lattice design here. Okay, let's emboss this and see what happens. I'm not seeing enough of a line in here to suit me. Look at that. Isn't that interesting? I am just experimenting here. I'm not saying much because I'm thinking about how this glycerin is tending to bead up on this cardstock, and it seems to pool. This may not be the right paper to do this on. See, my embossing powder, my glycerin would pool. It did pretty good in here, and here it would pool, and it's splotchy. Now for a very distressed look, that's kind of cool. I want to try this on a more absorbent paper. I'm going to tear, this is a Strathmore art journal. This is one of these watercolor, this is watercolor cold press paper. Let's tear this out. Well, I kind of like that. It's a lot better, isn't it? Pretty cool. Now, right in there at that E there, I'm not sure I like that area. It seems to work better on a more absorbent paper. If you're going for something very professionistic, if you're trying to make beautiful cards or something like that, well, I'm not sure this would be your technique. But if you're just playing around in your art journal and getting creative, getting down and getting creative, this would be something fun to experiment with. Now, just for fun, I love this red color. we go. That's what I'm after. Very squishy red. Today I was just playing around with putting some glycerin in a FineLine 20 gauge needle tip bottle and writing with it on here, drawing my designs. And I got varying results on this. If you're looking for a very perfect, here I wrote the word create, I would say that if you're looking for a really perfect, pristine image, this really is not the technique to do that. Like if you wanted to do something on a card that you're going to send and you want a beautiful embossed image, I'm not sure this would be the technique. But if you're just playing around in your art journal and want an embossed image, something very distressed, something fun, this would be something that would be fun to try. Now, I did find that this glycerin, the glycerin tended to bead more, and when I drew the lines here, it would tend to bead, and there would be areas where my straight lines would not have any glycerin to hold it. It would pool. So I tried it on this watercolor paper, and I think it did a much better job. Glycerin is a little oily. When you do something like this, you may want to buff it, get some of that oil off. I still have watercolor on here. I did use embossing. This is ultra thick platinum embossing enamel, and then I just was playing around with my watercolors on this watercolor paper. I really do like how this turned out, and I think with a little more work, this is an experiment. This is really the first time I did this, guys. With a little more work, this might really turn out to be something nice on your page. In fact, I think I'll take my football pen and draw around here to bring the name out a little.